So today we're going to be doing a highlight and contour video. I haven't done one of these in a very long time. The last one was like about a year ago and it was like a glamour foundation routine. So that is essentially what this is. I don't do highlight and contour very often. I personally think it looks really pretty, but I just don't like to use that much product on my face. I feel like although you can blend it and put all kinds of stuff on your face, there's still a lot of product on your face and you can definitely see that. So I personally only do this whenever I have a really special occasion or whenever I want to do like pictures and I want them to look a lot more professional. Then I do this because it is a more intense look. So anyways, I've already gone ahead and put down my moisturizer. You want to make sure to put lots and lots of moisturizer on your face because we're going to use a ton of products on the face. You want to keep your skin hydrated. It's going to look the best. And of course, you also want to prime your face so that it'll last longer and it'll just help everything go on a lot smoother. So I've already gone ahead and put foundation on my face. I use my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation mixed in with this Covergirl Ready Set Gorgeous foundation. And these two have completely opposite finishes, but that's why I wanted to use them because even though this is very luminous, it does not offer the coverage that I really need. And this one is a lot more matte and it provides the coverage that I need. And overall, it gives me like a satin finish, which is what I like because it looks very natural, if we will. We're just gonna go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do is apply the highlighter shades. So I'm gonna be using my Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer in the color Medium 1 Custard. And I'm going to be applying this underneath my eyes. As you guys can see, I did a upside down triangle type of shape and this is just going to lift your cheeks. And now I'm going to be using my Maybelline Fit Me, and this one is in the shade 25 medium, so it's a lot closer to my actual skin tone, which is why I'm using this to highlight the rest of my face because I don't want a super intense highlight all over my face, just specifically under my eyes. But I do want to bring brightness to other places so that the under eye highlight doesn't look as intense. So I'm going to start this by applying this to the center part of my face. I'm going to take a little bit down the bridge of my nose, and I find that the straighter I can apply that to my nose, the straighter my nose looks. You're also going to want to apply some to the Cupid's bow area. I also like to go around my nose to conceal any extra redness. I don't get a lot of redness there, but some days I do. And I'm going to add very little to my chin. Some people like to highlight around their mouth. I personally don't like it, but I did want to show you guys. And it just makes your lips appear more defined. And I'm also going to apply some here to my chin. To actually contour, I'm going to be using my e.l.f. Contour Cream Kit. And this one is in the shade St. Lucia. And I'm going to be using the bronzy shade in there, and I'm going to be using a smaller kind of brush. This is Sedona Lace 224. I'm going to be placing the handle brush of this to the top of my ear, down to my mouth, and that is where you want to place your contour. So I'm going to place it here. I'm also going to apply some to my forehead. I'm going to apply some to the bridge of my nose. I'm also going to apply some just underneath my bottom lip. And depending on you, you can contour your actual jawline. I personally don't like to do that. So what is the contour? The contour is where you're trying to make those areas or those features look smaller or more angular. So if you have a bigger forehead, you want to apply some bronzer there. If you have a round face like I do, then you want to contour your cheeks. If you are not very comfortable with your nose, then you can try a nose contour to make it look straighter or slimmer, or however you want to do it. And then again, if you want to contour your chin, that is perfectly fine. It's just going to define your actual like jaw. But because my jaw is actually like, this part of my face is actually pretty small compared to the rest of my face, or at least I feel that way, I don't like to contour. So now all you want to do is blend, and you want to start blending the highlighted parts of your face first. Some people like to apply the highlight, blend it out, and then apply the contour. You can definitely do that, and that'll just be an easier process, I feel, because you don't have to be as careful. Other people like to apply their highlight and contour under their foundation, and that's just a softer look. It just looks a lot more natural that way. So if you want a more naturally contoured look, then apply your foundation over the contoured areas and highlighted areas, but of course blend that out first. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend all of this together. Okie dokie, so I've already gone ahead and blended everything out, and I completely forgot to mention that I'm using a damp beauty blender for this step. Now you can use a brush, but for me personally, I feel like a beauty sponge always gives you a more diffused look, and it also picks up any extra product. So it really helps with the blending and making sure you don't have as much product on your face. Now, personally, I went down a little far with the contour. So I'm just going to use the highlight shade that is already on the brush, on the blender. So I'm just going to use the side that I use for the highlight, and I'm just going to clean that up. And you want to give yourself a really chiseled appearance. So now you're just going to want to go ahead and set your face. For me personally, I like to use a very thin powder. If you want a full coverage look, then go for a heavy duty foundation powder, but just keep in mind that with all the products that we're applying to our face, it's going to make you look pretty cakey. So I just like to use this one. This one's the Revlon Nearly Naked powder. It's a pretty thin powder and it has silica in it, so it makes your skin look very soft. You want to make sure to press this into the skin so that nothing moves. To set my under eye concealer, I'm going to be using the Laura Mercier Universal setting powder, and it's just a translucent powder.
Now, if you like this, you could just leave it like this. You don't have to... What is that? Do you guys hear my boyfriend's car? It's getting on my nerves. Leave. Bye. See you.
Now, depending on you, you can leave just the cream contour and apply some blush, your highlighter, you're done. However, I like to go over mine with actual powders. So I'm going to be using my Anastasia contour kit. I know that NYX makes one as well. I just don't own that one. So just use whatever contour powders that you have. So I'm going to start off with the Fawn shade, and I'm going to be using that to contour my cheeks. Now, the reason why I'm using this shade is because it has a tiny bit of gray to it. So it creates a natural looking shadow on the face. For me personally, leaving this shade all on its own is a little too harsh. So I'm going to be using my Milani Baked Bronzer, and this one is in the color Sienna. This one has a lot more red orangey tones to it, so it looks even more natural than this powder that I applied. None of this is really natural, but what I'm trying to say is it gives you a more sun-kissed look. So I'm just going to be applying this to my forehead. And then I'm going to go over the contoured part and really blend it together so it doesn't look just like a harsh gray powder. Going back to the contour kit, now I'm going to highlight with powders. For that, I'm going to be using the banana shade mixed in with the lightest shade here, and this one I believe is called Vanilla. So I'm going to mix the two because banana, on me personally, I don't like the way it looks. So I mix it with a little bit of vanilla, and I'm going to apply this right underneath my eye. And this is just going to brighten the area. As you guys can see, it looks a lot brighter than this side. I'm just going to use those powders the same way that I use the concealer. So down the center of my forehead, down my nose, a little bit on my chin. And let's say your contour isn't as clean and as crisp as you want it. You can use the powder to clean it up. So I'm adding a lot of powder, and this is considered cooking. So I'm just going to let this sit on my face for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to dust it off, and it's going to create a very crisp, clean line. So while that cooks, I'm going to be using the shade Fawn to contour my nose. I don't do this very often, and I think the cream does the job, but I just like to intensify it sometimes. And you want it to meet up here to your brow. It's the most natural way to get a very natural looking contour on your nose. And I'm also going to take this shade and I'm going to contour the part that where my nose lifts a little bit and turns into a little ball. So I'm just going to contour up there to emphasize that. Then the tip of my nose. So now it's been a couple minutes, so I'm just going to brush this off. And you want to blend it up instead of down because you don't want to bring the contour powder down. And there you have a nice, crisp, clean line. So now with the powder brush that you used, I would recommend just going over everything and blending everything together so that you don't see any harsh lines. Except for the contour part, I would say keep that pretty crisp. Blend it a little bit because you don't want it to be too harsh. But for the most part, you want to leave it pretty intense so that you can see where the contour is, you know what I mean? So, but for everything else, I would just say go over it without adding any extra powders and just to kind of soften everything the way that everything looks. So of course you want to go ahead and apply your blush and highlight to complete the look. And also you want to use a setting spray because that's going to take away that powdery look that we get once we do the whole highlighting contour part. So I really recommend that you do use a setting spray. This one is pretty inexpensive. This is the Badescu facial spray, and this is $7 for the bottle, and it works really great. So I'm just going to go ahead and spritz my whole face. And I like to just press it into the powder. And that'll really just help the whole thing sink into your skin so it doesn't just look like a layer of product on your face. So that you guys completes this whole highlight and contour video. I want to thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys all very soon. Bye.